Howdy, everybody. Well, hi. Welcome to Carpo's reality. One dude sitting in front of his garage talking about life. This episode, well, I was actually just working out in the yard. And I've been doing a lot of thinking today about. It seems like every day I have a different topic that I think about. Something that's kind of a recurring theme throughout the day, right? And it usually has to do with maybe a conversation I've had, whether it be with somebody on the internet or somebody in the family, or maybe a book I read or a movie I watched or something. Something that gets me thinking about an idea, and I process that idea for a few days. So the idea that I'm processing has been, how do you know what to believe? And that's a very vague question, of course. I don't mean to say, though, this is how you know what to believe, because it's not like that. What I mean is, like, when people are seeking the truth, and there's a lot of us out there that are seeking the truth, and not for the sake of knowing anything, but for the sake of, and I was trying to explain this to someone earlier, that, philosophy itself is the love of wisdom, but properly applied, it's the love of wisdom, not for the sake of having the wisdom, but for the sake of being able to utilize that wisdom to improve our lives. So by having a more well-rounded view of the world around us, we're able to make better decisions. And those decisions can be applied to a broader amount of people without harming anyone or leaving anyone out. And so in this yearning for knowledge in order to improve our lives, there's become this whole truther movement and all types of people trying to understand what's really going on in the world. And we realize we've been deluded, that families have run, the money system from the beginning, and all these things come to light that blow us away, and we say, okay, everything's just a big lie, we've been fed a big illusion. So some people choose to just live in the lie, and some people choose to deny everything. Like I've met a lot of people who think everything's a hoax that they see on TV. So that was part of the discussion and that I had with Mr. Charlie Surf when he was talking about Edward Snowden, because I mentioned him in a video, and was he a traitor or a hero? And he believes, as well as other people, that the entire Edward Snowden thing is a complete hoax, that he was a plant that was perpetrated by the CIA to distract people. So that brings me to kind of the point of this video. Was what I've been thinking about is situations like that, where one person says, this is true, and you think, well, this is more likely true. What's the best way to go about finding that truth? And a lot of people shut down and basically just say, look, I believe what I believe, and that's the way it is. Some people say, show me what to believe, in the sense that they don't even know what to believe and they'll be suckered in. And then there's people in between. In other words, there's really stubborn people who are stuck in their beliefs, and really open people who will just take whatever they're told. But then there's people in the middle, and like myself, who, and this is kind of the applied practice that allows me to process things in my personal life. I take a subject such as the Snowden thing, which is why I use the example. If I want to see things from both sides and have a clearer view, I can't only just Google, let's say, Edward Snowden is a hero. You have to Google Edward Snowden hoax or as a traitor. Every time I get into a subject matter which somebody disagrees with me with, rather than just saying, no, you're wrong, and quoting things that I've already read, I ask for links and evidence so I can better arm myself with evidence to know better, because I'm not out here to say this is true and haha, look, I know things, you don't. I'm out here to say this is what I think may be true, and if you have better evidence, present it to me and I'll look at it. Now, the evidence that's given to me isn't always valid in my opinion. A lot of the times, of course, it's anecdotal, secondhand evidence, or maybe links to another website that goes to another website, and a lot of them are dead ends. So that's why I seem kind of when I seem like I'm maybe deluded to some people, like that I'm denying that media is controlled. It's not that at all. I've actually at one point thought that everything was controlled, until I started looking into it, realizing that there are still little facets and fingers that we can still speak to the people through. There are still open channels. that, not everything is completely tied down, because in order to do that, it has to be more like a military state, which it's becoming, but it isn't yet. So, so when I want to look at an issue and figure out what's the truth, I look at both sides, and I look at it as if I'm trying to disprove myself. So I say, okay, if I want to talk about the Illuminati or New World Order, you can't just Google how they're harming. You have to say, is it a joke, or is it a hoax? Is it conspiracy? You have to look at it from both sides, I guess. And that's up to the individual. That means using the computer as a tool, not just to search for things that you want to hear, but to search for both sides of the story. And I know a lot of people do that, because a lot of people go to the computer each morning, go to YouTube, and they Google particular words into YouTube, such as conspiracy, Illuminati, New World Order, and they look at all the latest videos. And I know this because in the past, whenever I've made a video about that subject matter, it always gets more views than the other ones, because, well, quicker anyway, at least at first, which shows me that a lot more people jump onto it. And this was even before I even really had any subs. I mean, I get tons more views than I had subs, so I knew that people were really into this stuff, and I always have been too. And I just want to know what's really going on. I really do. So when I disagree with someone by saying I don't think this is a conspiracy, often I'm labeled as either a shill or just that I'm living in a delusion. And I don't think that's really fair, because my delusion, perhaps, but it's not just a delusion that I've been suckered into by believing the media or believing society. I've been anti-media, anti-corporate, anti-government most of my life, as far as them, trying to take control, and I see what's going on. But I also see a glimmering light, a little bit of hope. And I feel like people if they give up on that hope and assume that we're totally doomed, it's like throwing in the towel and just allowing people to take over. If we don't at least attempt to get the word out there and talk to people about things that we find important, then everything will be lost. And so in order to find the truth, since there's so many people talking about these things, the best way to do it is to look at it from both sides. And that's really the root of what I wanted to say here. To make sure that you're fair to yourself and fair to the subject and if you can't derive a conclusion, that's fine. Because all the time I come up where I'm just not sure, and I say, well, I just don't know. Like a lot of the alien type stuff, stories that may or may not be true, and I just say, well, I'll put it on the shelf for later. And if it has some shelf life, if it has a use, it may come back up later. But right now, there's no point in dwelling, because I just don't know. So, anyway, guess I'll leave it at that, and wish you all well. Thumbs up. Hope you all have a great day.